Sri Gurubhyo Namaha children, you are welcome for online class. Children, last class we saw the part 1 of unit 2 supplementary life of pi. And life of pi, you know that we started the class first part and there we learnt he was all alone in the sea with a tiger. So here we found that it was a dangerous adventure for him, and whether he have to die in the hands of the tiger or he must die in the sea without food and water. And 3 days he was not having any food or water or nice sleep. You just imagine, he was not able to think also, he became very tired, and we stopped there. Okay children, we will start from there. So here we stopped here. For 3 days he had not had. Richard Parker was still on a board. In fact, he was directly beneath me. Incredible that such a thing should need consent to be true, but it was only after much deliberation upon assessing various mental items and points of view that I concluded that it was not a dream or a delusion or a misplaced memory or a fancy. So here it was reality, it is not imagination or a fancy story like that. So he came to the truth and understood that in the boat the tiger was there. Okay, you can see in the lifeboat, so the tiger was sitting, you can see that most of the place occupied by the tiger. So its name is Richard Parker. Okay, you might think I lost all hope at that point. I did, and as a result I perked up and felt much better. We see that in sports all the time, don't we? The tennis challenger starts strong but soon loses confidence in his playing. The champion racks up the games, but in the final set, when the challengers had nothing left to lose, he becomes relaxed again. Insufficient daring, suddenly he is playing like the devil and the champion must work hard to get and those last points. So it was with me. To cope with Aina seemed remotely outmatched by Richard Parker, that it wasn't even worth worrying about. With the tiger board my life was over. That being settled, why not do something about my parched throat? So it was very clear that in this it was not having a hope or a challenge, and he was just telling that you might think I lost all hope at that point. So you might think that by seeing the tiger I would have lost all my hope. I did. So it was true. Yes. And as a result I perked up and felt much better. So he perked up and he felt much better. We see that in sports all the time, don't we? So in the sports we used to see that. For example, when you're playing a tennis, challenges start strong but soon loses confidence in his play. At beginning they'll be starting and playing nicely, but later they'll be losing their thing. So like that it is. But soon loses confidence in his playing. The champion racks up the games. So the champion racks up the games. But in the final set, when the challengers has nothing left to lose, he becomes relaxed again. Insufficient daring, suddenly he is playing like the devil and the champion must work hard to get those last points. So it was with me. To cope with Aina seemed remotely possible, but I was so obviously outmatched by Richard Parker that it wasn't even worth worrying about. With a tiger abroad, my life was over. That being settled, why not do something about my parched throat? So here he was feeling, so it was with me. To cope with Aina seemed remotely possible, but I was so obviously outmatched by Richard Parker. So he felt that he can manage Aina, but managing a tiger is not so easy. So he understood that being settled, why not do something about my parched throat? So here why we can't do something? So it was running in his mind and thought. I believe it was this that saved my life that morning, that I was quite literally dying of thirst. So here he was dying of thirst and he wanted to drink water, otherwise his life was really very dangerous there. Now that was the word had popped into my head. I couldn't think of anything else, as if the word itself were salty, and more I thought of it, the worse the effect. I have heard that the hunger for a rug exceeds as a compelling sensation the thirst for water. Only for a few minutes, I say, after a few minutes you die. And so here he was thinking that in his mind, that he was feeling thirst, and saying that word water and thirst itself, he was feeling salty there, and he was just dying of water and thirst, and nothing was in his mind, and he was very tired, and he was keeping silent. So that made him to lead there. And hunger for his air exceeds as a compelling sensation the thirst of water. So he was having hunger, tiredness, and thirst of water, and past 3 days he didn't drink any water at all. Only for a few minutes, I say, after a few minutes you die, and the discomfort of aspiration goes away. So he was telling that only few more minutes you are going to be alive, and after that you are going to die. So that was running in his mind, and that was happening there. And he was thinking aspiration means so he was thinking in his mind that his last minute, because of not drinking water, of thirst, out of thirst he is going to die. So that was in his mind. So that was taxing in his mind. Even God incarnate complains about it. Imagine the effect of an ordinary human. So even God incarnate complains about it. Imagine. So here he says that goes away wherever the thirst is drawn out affair. Look, Christ on the cross died of the suffocation, but his only complaint was of the thirst. If thirst can be so taxing that, so here you just imagine he is comparing his thirstiness with God, and how Lord Jesus Christ, when he was crucified, and he was not complaining about anything, pain or anything, but he was just telling that he feels thirst, and that was if thirst can be of taxing that suffocation in the crucifixion, if God itself is having, how for a man he is telling. Even God incarnate complains about it. Imagine the effect on the ordinary human. It was enough to make me so raving mad. I have never known a worse physical ill than this putrid taste and pasty feeling in the mouth, this unbearable pressure at the back of the throat, this sensation that my blood was turning to thick syrup that barely flowed. Truly by comparison a tiger was nothing, and so I pushed aside all thoughts of Richard Parker and fearlessly went exploring for the fresh water. So what was running in his mind? All his blood had been thickened. So you know that most of our blood was liquid, and when there is less water in our body, and when we are having a loss of water in our body, all blood will become thick, and because of that we will be having a faintness, vomitness and tiredness, and so many things will be there, and we have to quench water or drink water, and we have to quench the thirst, otherwise we will be facing lot of difficulty. So these were running in his mind. So here for him tiger was nothing. So because he knows that without a water he is going to die, and dying without a water or dying on the tiger was same only for him. So he was fear for him of seeing the tiger. Okay. So here I pushed aside all thoughts of Richard Parker and fearlessly went exploring for fresh water. So Richard Parker is the tiger, and he was not having any fear on the tiger, Richard Parker, and he was hunting for the water to get. The divining rod in my mind dipped sharply, and the spring gushed water when I remembered that I was on a genuine regulation lifeboat, and that such a lifeboat was surely outfitted with supplies. That seemed like a perfectly reasonable proportion. What captain would fail in so elementary a way to ensure the safety of his crew? So here he was in a lifeboat, and in this lifeboat surely there must be a package of supplies, food supplies must be there, and especially water must be there. So that was running in his mind. The divining rod in my mind dipped sharply, and a spring gushed water when I remembered that I was on a genuine boat and it must have a supply, and surely a regulation of a lifeboat, and that such lifeboat was surely outfitted with supplies. That seemed like a perfectly reasonable proportion. What captain would fail in so elementary a way to ensure the safety of his crew? So if it was a lifeboat, surely some food material, first aid and water must be in that thing. If it happens to not having, then really that captain was really a fool. So here they will be very brilliant person, and they know that the lifeboat must contain these essential things. It is a basic things for a person. So it must be there. So he was just thinking that in the mind, and he got freshness. And what ship chandler would not think of making a little extra money under the noble guise of saving lives? It was settled. There was water abroad. All I had to do was find it. So surely in the boat there must be water. What you have to do? You have to search where they kept. So that only you have to do. And all I had to do was find it, which meant I had to move. I made it to the middle of the boat, to the edge of the tarpaulin. It was a hard crowd. I felt I was climbing the side of a volcano, and I was about to look over the rim into the boiling cauldron of orange lava. I lay flat. I carefully brought my head over. I did not look over any more than I had to. I did not see Richard Parker. The Aina was plainly visible though. It was back behind what was left of the zebra. It was looking at me. So here he was searching for the water and bending down. And when he was doing such, he was feeling like that he was in the volcano, and a volcano when it is to erupt. So in such danger he was, and he was just bent down himself, and he was not bothered about the Aina or about the tiger, the Parker, and he was searching for the water in that. And the zebra was eaten by the Aina, and the remaining thing was left there. It was looking at me, so the Aina was looking at him. I was no longer afraid of it. It wasn't 10 feet away. Yet my heart didn't skip a beat. Richard Parker's presence had at least that useful aspects. To be afraid of this ridiculous dog when there was a tiger about was like being afraid of splinters. So I was no longer afraid of it. It wasn't 10 feet away. It was not 10 feet away. Yet my heart didn't skip a beat. Richard Parker's presence had at least that useful aspect to be afraid of. This ridiculous dog when there was a tiger about was like being afraid of splinters. So I was no longer afraid of it. So here Pi was not Pi was not frightened of the was not afraid of that 10 feet away. It was 10 feet away. He was not frightened. Yet my heart didn't skip a bit. So heart was not a skip a bit. Richard Parker's presence had at least that useful aspect. To be afraid of this ridiculous dog when there was a tiger about was like being afraid of splinters. So it was like that when he saw the Aina, he was not frightened because already the tiger was there. Richard Parker was there, and he has frightened of that. So when compared to that, this was not a big thing for him. When trees are falling down, I became very angry at the animal. You ugly foul creatures, I muttered. The only reason I didn't stand up and beat it off the lifeboat with a stick was lack of strength, and stick not lack of heart. Did the Aina sense something of my mastery? Did it say to itself, Super Alpha is watching me, I better not move? I don't know. At any rate, it didn't move. In fact, in the way it ducked its head, it seemed to not want to hide from me. But it was no use hiding. It would get its just desert soon enough. Okay. So here he was feeling that when the trees are falling down, I became very angry at the animal. So he was angry at the animal, and you ugly foul creature, he was saying, I muttered. The only reason I did not stand up and beat it off the lifeboat. So it was the lifeboat with a stick was lack of strength. He was having a stick and he was not able to beat because, not because he was frightened of that, but he was not having any strength to beat it. So not a lack of art. Did the Aina sense something of my mastery? Did the Aina sense something of my mastery? Did it say to itself, Super Alpha is watching? So here Aina was sensed something of mastery by seeing the Richard Parker, the tiger, and it would have said that Super Alpha is there, so I must better not move. I don't know. At any rate, it didn't move. In fact, in the way it ducked its head, it seemed to want to hide from me. But it was no use hiding. It would get its just desert soon enough. So here he was hiding because he thought that there was a Super Alpha, who is that called tiger, the Richard Parker, and Aina was keeping quiet. He must not do anything. Okay, Richard Parker also explained the animal's strange behavior. Now it was clear why the Aina had confined itself to such an absurdly small space behind the zebra and why it had waited so long before killing it. It was fear of the greater beast and fear of touching the greater beast's food. The stained temporary peace between orange juice and the Aina and my reprieve were no doubt due to the same reason. In the face of such as the superior predator, all of us were prey and normal ways of preying were affected. It seemed the presence of a tiger had saved me from an Aina, surely a textbook example of jumping from the frying pan into the fire. So it was that he is saying that zebra had been there and the Aina was not touching because there was a super greater animal than him, and so he had not affected even a human being. And the same way the tiger had not affected others, and the same way he had not been disturbed by the other animals. So it was like that a greater animal is frightened to the smaller animal. So like that it was happening. So it was one after the other was just using like this, and this was happening, and it was like that. An example, jumping from a firing pan into the fire. So it was like that. You just think over, if you were in a firing pan, you will be getting less in heat. When you just jump in the fire, what will happen? You will be burnt most. So here it was like that it was, and it was just happening. But the great beast was not behaving like a great beast. So great beast, the tiger, it is not behaving like a great beast to such an extent that the Aina had taken liberties. So here the great animal, the Richard Parker had not taken any, behaved like a great animal. So Aina took that, and Richard Parker passivity, and for three long days needed explaining. So 3 long days it took and it explaining. Only in 2 ways could I account for its sedation and seasickness. Further, regularly sedated a number of animals to lessen their stress. Might he have sedated Richard Parker shortly before the ship sank? At the shock of the shipwreck, the noises, the falling into the sea, the terrible struggle to the swim of the lifeboat increased the effect of the sedative. Had sickness taken over after that? These were the only plausible explanation I could come up with. I lost interest in question. Only water interested me. So here the boy Pi was just sailing, and what made, usually when they are taking animal in the ship, they will be sedating, they will be giving a sedation to it, because in a sea that by seeing waves and all, it will be just frightened, or it must be trouble in the ship. So they will be just sedating the animals. Before the shipwreck only, maybe his father would have sedated the tiger. So it was just like that for 3 days. And moreover, sea fever also will be there, sea fearness also will be there. When all of a sudden it was having a shipwreck and he was somehow managed the lifeboat to escape, and the tiger was keeping quiet because of the sea and water everywhere. So that might be the explanation. He is saying that the tiger was just sitting quietly, not doing anything. I took stock of lifeboat. It was 3.5 feet deep, 8 feet wide and 26 feet long exactly. I know because it was printed on one of the side benches in the black letters. It also said that the lifeboat was designed to accommodate a maximum of 32 people. Wouldn't that have been merry sharing it with so many? Instead we were 3 and it was awfully crowded. So here he says that the boat was height and weight and everything was there. It was 3.5 feet deep. It was 3.5 feet deep and 8 feet wide and 26 feet long. So it was 26 feet long exactly. I know because it was printed. So here he knows the height, weight and other things because it was printed in the black in the sides of the boat. I know because it was printed on one of the side benches in the black letters. It also said that the lifeboat was designed to accommodate a maximum of 32 people. So here in that lifeboat 32 people can sail, but here only 3 of them were there. Wouldn't that have been merry sharing it with so many? So he feels that if 32 people are there, how nice it will be. But only 3 of them were there in that. So who were they? Haina, the tiger, Richard Parker and Pi. So these 3 people only was sharing, and that too in fright they were just sailing. It seems orange is the color of the survival because the whole inside of the boat and the tarpaulin war and the life jacket and the life buoy and the oar and most every other significant object aboard was orange. Even the plastic headless whistles were orange. So the lifeboat was orange, and it seems that everything was orange, and that full boat was orange, and the inside the things all were orange. Even the whistle was orange. So that showed that it was full of orange. The life was with orange. Children, will stop here and we'll see how these 3 people were traveling at last 227 days, how they had their experience. We'll see in this in the later part, children. Thank you.